Let's see. What would you be doing if you weren't a writer?
I would probably be a full-time counselor, something in psychology. What would you be doing?
I would be a director.
Of what?
Movies. No, for real. I don't know really anyone in Hollywood, but I would be somewhere reading something. I could see you being a counselor. If y'all don't know her like very well, Tarryn's very good at just monopolizing the conversation and twisting it to the other person. She's just constantly asking questions and just, you know nothing about her. I mean, we were friends for like...
You guys know about me. You know a lot.
I mean, now, you're a little more open now. But like, we were friends for 2 or 3 years and I was like, oh, she has kids? Like, I've never asked her about herself. She's just very like, and she does this because that's how she gets these crazy characters, is she steals it from all of our minds. We helped her write these books.
This
in a way.
is true. If you're in my life in any degree, I will steal things from you.
Yeah. Did you steal anything for the wives? Is any of that from anyone you know?
I think I took a lot from my mom. How many of you have read The Wives already? Okay, so Thursday's mom is a very traditional mom who does traditional roles in her family, and that was my mom. And I think that whole generation was kind of forced into that. It was just what you were supposed to do. My mom did it with grace. And I saw her every night. She prepared this gourmet meal for my family. And every day she put on her makeup and wore an outfit. And she was the perfect wife and mother. But she was part of a generation that required you to be. However, because she was like that, I became that way. And you guys know I'm a feminist. You know what I feel about men. But because my mom did it, I do it. So as a feminist, every night I serve my family dinner. Like I dish for them, I lay the plates in front of them, do all the dishes. So in the book, there are very traditional roles that some women take, and I pulled that from my life. And I still take a very traditional role, but I take it as choice. Like I saw my mom doing it. I saw it be a requirement of society, but there was something beautiful about it, and it touched me as a child. And so now I do that for my family, and I believe it's feminism because it's a choice rather than a requirement.
I don't know how this works. I am very impressed with how you do get up every day and put on your makeup and crap like that. I am not that way. Like, this is the most makeup I've worn since last decade. Why are we friends? Like, seriously. Do y'all wonder that too? Like, we're so different. People think that our friendship is fake because we're so different. It's like a publicity stunt. I'm like, who's getting anything out of this? Difficult.
But we have the same heart. We may be different in all of our behavior, but we're the same person on the inside. I'm just like a more refined version of you.
It's like our hotel. What did the sign say outside? I saw it. I'm like, I shop at Walmart, and let me read it to y'all. Hold on. It was so great. It was so Tarryn, and I'm like, why did they book me here?
At our hotel?
This hotel is stylish, sensual, and dignified. So are you. Appropriate dress required. I literally got out of my car barefoot. Keys to the valet. Anyway, yeah, we're very different. We also write very different, I think, but I enjoy your books. I really enjoyed the first page of this one because it said, to Colleen. We should make this Q&A mostly about me. What's your favorite book of mine?
I very easily fall into this role. Maybe someday. No, Verity.
You did like Maybe Someday. That was weird. I mean, Tarryn doesn't really read my books. It's fine.
I read all of your books except Finding Cinderella. I've never read that.
Yeah, that's okay. Me and Tarryn found each other on Goodreads in 2012. She reviewed Slammed, and I was like, who's this author? And so I was like, I should read her book. And I read your book, and I was like, who is this? So I messaged her on Facebook, and we've just been friends ever since. we're gonna open this up to you guys because I know y'all want to hear her answers to your questions more than you want to hear me ask her questions. But I just want to say first, I know there was a little bit of confusion about the signing, and that was only because I sign next week. But if y'all have books, I will sign them. Just let me know. I'm not gonna stand up here with Tarryn. I'll just hide in the back somewhere. But if you have books, oh, it's your signing. I don't want to do that.
But I'd like you with me.
Whatever. Just pick up my ear. Who has a question for Tarryn?
I do. Okay, so I Can Be a Better You. It's formerly Bad Mommy. So I just heard that it's actually based on real life events. I'd like to hear more about that.
Let's sit this one out.
Well, all of my stories I feel like I pull from real life. That's the type of writer I am. The only way for me to have therapy is to write books. And I'm just like you guys, like things happen. Hurt happens, friends happen, and I write about it to get over it. So yeah, that was something I had to write about to process and to heal from. It was a painful book. Take from that what you will.
Anyone else?
Which of your books is your favorite?
Mudvayne, because it feels like the most real thing I've ever written. That was pure pain and experience that I wrote into that book, so I feel very close to it. And then also the readers seem to really respond to that book, so it's become my favorite.
Most of your female characters that you write are very insecure and weak. Do you ever feel the desire to write a stronger female lead character?
Well, I would extremely disagree with you. I think have you read all of my books?
Yes.
And you think they're weak?
I don't They seem very insecure in themselves.
I think in each book we're looking at some type of insecurity I would be facing, because I've written each book in different phases of my life. And so my extreme issues and the daddy issues and the opportunist. And then in Mudvayne, I was going through a divorce and my heart had been broken. And so you do see maybe my insecurity in new areas every time and how I conquer that. But I feel like my characters are terrible. Not in an insecure way.
So you wrote a completely different genre with The Wives.
Right.
Are you going to do that more in the future? Are you gonna...
Yeah, and I think that a real artist wants to explore everything. We don't want to be boxed into anything. So yeah, I'm going to go everywhere. I don't want to stay in one particular genre, but I'll come back around to everything. But I feel like if you're a real artist and your readers know who you are, every book will be different. You can come back for every book and there's going to be something new. I don't think we're formula. We write something different every time.
You know, I get very bored, I think,
Yeah.
with myself
Yes.
and my stories. And so,
Yes.
like, if I'm not into the book and writing something new than from what I wrote the time before, then I get very bored and I won't finish it.
But how much of your characters are you? Because I'm regretting you now, and I'm seeing your humor, and I'm going back. Like, how much you actually put in?
I don't know that I really do.
But your humor is there.
Yeah, I
And the
put
way
a
you
little bit
think
of
is
humor in the books, but I'm not emotional at all. I'm not romantic at all, and that's mostly
That's
what my
bullshit.
books are.
You write that many best-selling novels about being romantic. No.
I have a theory about this. I feel like I don't want to make this about me, but yeah. So I feel like I don't feel much when in like everyday life. I'm not an emotional person. It takes a lot for me to feel, and so I write like really emotional novels because I have to like push myself to where I can
But maybe
feel
that's
a
the
little
only
bit.
way. The only way you do. That's where your emotion is. There's no way you could write like that and not have real emotion. Guys, read your books. There's no way.
I mean, I feel like I'm empathetic, and I feel like you can write about emotions if you're empathetic. I'm just not emotional or romantic.
If you ever ask her for advice when you're in a really bad place, you will know that's true. You'll be fine. You're good. Go.
Suck it up.
Now that you're with this publisher, does that mean all of your other books are going to be through the publisher?
No, so I'm considered hybrid now. So anything I write that's thriller or mystery will be with a publisher, or anything else can be me. So daddy-o-path, romance, I can do that on my own.
So the books that are going through the publisher in the future, do you feel like your voice, like, you have you go so deep in some of your books that like maybe you've mentioned before in your like Tuesdays with Tarryn, like it's not mainstream type thing, and like I don't want your writing to change.
Okay, Harry Potter. If you look at the Harry Potter novels, they start out slimmer and then they get thicker and thicker, and that was as her publisher trusted her and let her have more leeway with her books. So this book, I was like, all right, I'm gonna get published. What do you want from me? And they were like, this is what you need to do. So I did it. And I think that I'll get to have more of my own voice going forward as they trust me. They're seeing that I have readers. You guys trust me. And so I'll get to be a little bit more Tarryn with every book. But I did go very, I followed the rules. I followed the rules with this book, I felt like. And it was still really Tarryn. Because everyone's saying this book does not follow the rules. So.
Well, I don't think that you necessarily did that for the publisher, because I read the very first version and I don't think it changed much at all. Like once they came in, I feel like they let you be you, but you wrote it specifically because you knew you wanted it to be a trade book.
Yeah.
But I feel like your voice was there and that you wrote the book you wanted to write for this avenue. And I agree. I think that you'll.
The crazy is still there.
I have another question that's not related to that. Are you gonna make her give lip fillers again?
Never
We need more.
Lumps in my lips. Like I can deal with it.
Person.
No, I'm not doing that again. This is me. I'm still trying to think of what I
This is how
can
we're
do
nothing
in
alike.
In return to
I'm
your
like
stuff.
shooting Botox into my face every 6 weeks.
Screw that. Y'all, that was terrible.
What was 2012 Olivia think of Tarryn 2020?
I think she's growing with me. I think she's the same as me. Because I am Olivia.
I know.
I think she showed up in Atheist, Who Kneel and Pray. I think that's the same Olivia, just growing a little bit more mature. I'm learning how to let people love me, including Colleen. Believe it or not, I'm the unhealthy person in this relationship, and she's crazy.
Believe it or not, I think that's very apparent.
Growing.
So as the story progresses, I started questioning everything that Thursday did or was. And the one thing at the end was, is Thursday her real name? Like,
Did you ask that in PLN today?
I did not.
Oh, someone did. It's still pending approval though.
Thursday.
I only approve questions that pertain to me and
Yes, Thursday is her real name. And I feel like because I wrote Marrow, everyone is looking at this book like that, but it's a completely different thing. You can trust how this book went and ended. That's what happens. Because I feel like marriage is more beneficial to men than it is to women. I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing, because I feel like women are the natural nurturers and givers. And without us, the world would have fallen apart a very long time ago. But this is a book about how women develop through marriage and relationships, and how we slowly, because we love our children so much, because we love our husband so much, we slowly lose parts of ourselves. We forget about our dreams and who we are. And then the children leave the house, and you're like, who am I even? What were my goals? I don't know where my place is in the world. And that's what I wrote this book about. When you fall too much in love with your relationship and less in love with yourself, you go crazy. George Carlin has a quote that says, women are crazy and men are stupid, and women are crazy because men are stupid. And that is a quote of my
You guys ever write another book together?
Yeah, we will. We work so well
We
together.
talk about it all the
There's
time.
enough time, but And
If we do, I think where we went wrong, not that we went wrong with Never Never, we were happy with it, not a lot of people
it was a
were.
YA though.
Yeah, it was YA.
Oh,
I think
love
people
YA.
expected darker from us and more twisted than just like this little YA novel, but
We're writing for teenagers.
yeah, we would not announce it. We would just write it
Yeah.
and release it.
And we will.
There would be no talk about it beforehand because we did not like the pressure.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about the process of writing that together? Were you guys?
Yeah, this is a fun story. So I told Tarryn about this idea I had where this girl woke up in class and couldn't remember anything. I told her basically the first chapter and where I wanted to go with the book, and she was like, "Oh, write it. That's I like that idea." And then 2 years passed, and she would always just text me, "Have you written the first chapter? Have you written it?" And I was like, "No, I'm doing this. I'm doing this." So one day she sends me the first chapter, and she's like, "I wrote the first chapter for you. Finish it." And so I took her first chapter and then started the second chapter from Silas's point of view, and then I sent it back to her, and then she wrote the third chapter from Charlie's point of view. And so we wrote the whole first book like that, just sending each other, not knowing where each other was going to go with it. And we were like, "Oh, this is fun. Let's put out this little YA novella." And we were like, I was in a contract, so we had to do it like in novella releases. And so we had met up to talk about the book and write for a week in New Orleans, which didn't happen. She was gone the whole time. She just disappears. And that's when we were like, "Oh, we're not finished with it. This is a cliffhanger." And so it turned into 3. But it was really fun. Like, we didn't have a plan other than like not knowing.
But we felt pressured the last book.
Yeah, we did.
Seriously. So that's why if we write again, we're not going to tell anyone. We're
Yeah,
gonna make sure
the
it's
first
finished.
one was a lot of fun. We had so much fun writing it, but the other 2 people were expecting them, and you were going through a lot. You were going through a lot, so it was very hard.
Any of you have read Bad Mommy or I Can Be a Better You? That's what I was going through when we were writing this book. So
Yeah, and so we had dates, and it was like it was tough to fit in everything we were
Between
doing.
stroking
So
me.
yeah, petting Tarryn.
She doesn't really
You
do
can
it well.
finish this.
but-
You can do it.
We're okay.
I don't like needy friends.
Very different.
She has people that fulfill that role for her, so I get to be the friend who doesn't have to get involved in all that crap.
She gives
I
the
do
best
love
advice. Best though when she does.
Can y'all rap for us?
I don't even think I remember the lyrics.
I don't know. I don't even think I've listened to that song since
Yeah.
we recorded that video
We practiced for a long time.
separately. Then we did it in one take. It's so awkward. Anyone else?
So, how is it writing with 3 kids and a husband?
That's so natural. That wasn't what I was trying to figure out. It's hard, and I have a deadline of March 3rd for my next book. So do you guys remember I announced Crawl Space? And they've renamed it. It's the wrong family now. They don't want that name. And I have a March 3rd deadline.
Are you serious?
Full manuscript?
We leave to go out of the country the last week of February, so your deadline is February 25th.
So before I had a deadline, Colleen was like, "Hey, you want to go on this trip with me?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then the deadline came
You
after.
better finish it before we go. I'm
No.
gonna be so mad if you're in your hotel room writing the whole
We're
time.
going to see the Avett Brothers in the Dominican Republic. So it's not easy. Do you have children?
I have a 4-year-old, a 3-year-old.
Are you a writer?
Yeah. It's traumatized.
When I wrote The Opportunist, I would put them to bed and stay up until 5 o'clock in the morning, sleep for 2 hours, and then get up with them. I think that if you really want something, you just have to suffer. Especially if you're a writer. And even it's like that now, I just creep in. Actually, the writers have taught me about the speed writing thing. Have you done that?
I can't.
It works. It works. Like when you just go in for an hour and you go as fast as you can. And then you leave and live your life, and then you run back in and go again. And that's been working for me, speed writing.
Before I had kids, I would write for hours, like fall
Wow.
into these pits, and
Isn't that wonderful?
it was beautiful. And now it's just crazy. I don't know how you.
I don't know how people do it with toddlers. Like
You just have to want it.
There's just no way.
I started writing until my kids were old enough to microwave their own food.
I mean, I tell you guys to get a lot of Botox and fillers. I would look so bad with that. Anyone else?
We appreciate your 2 hours of sleep for the opportunity. And do you and Willow have any plans to get together and finish Inman?
So we've written it once before, but we're not happy with it. But yeah, because of my March 2nd deadline, it was put on hold. So we'll probably jump in right after. No promises.
So in line with the part about the timing and the kids and the family, is there a book that just came right out of your fingers and took off?
I think all of them, because I write emotionally. Everything is about what I'm going through right now. And that's my therapy. I don't see a therapist. This is cheaper and it makes money. Like I've stumbled on something here. But no, I write my books as therapy to get over whatever I've gone through. And I've gone through a lot of things. And so, I mean, that's
I feel like just being on the outside, I feel like Mudvayne came faster to her than most of them. And I don't know if it's because of how you felt about the book, but I was reading it as she wrote chapters, and I didn't have to wait long. Like you spit that one out pretty fast.
Because I was hurting.
Yeah. I like hurt Tarryn.
Colleen doesn't have to get hurt to write books. That's nice.
My life is so boring.
But she is not. She's crazy.
Are there other authors that you share like chapter by chapter with, or is that special for
That was the
Colleen?
only time I've ever done that. I would though. I've asked her to send me her recent one chapter by chapter because she's writing kind of another one like Verity, and Verity is.
Well, if we need someone, I'll reach
Did
out.
you guys love Verity? Yes. I mean, romance is nice, but you know I like crazy things. It just so happens my best friend is really crazy. That was sicker than anything I could.
That felt so normal to me. I was like, this is where I belong.
Have you guys ever like had something something you wrote and took care of the other one that you didn't like?
I don't know that we really show each other stuff anymore. Like
No, we don't.
She
We
gave
don't
me
do
feedback
that.
with Verity,
We read it.
but now it's like I feel like we both respect each other's time so much that I feel bad. I'm like, Tarryn, can you read this? Because I know her schedule's so crazy. Like I don't even you're like halfway
I'm
through
halfway
regretting
through
you.
regretting you, yeah.
So yeah, it's just
And I wasn't about regretting you because I'm like, why can't my friends write thrillers? Why do I have to keep reading these love stories? And then I started regretting you, and I was roped right away. So I break my rules for Colleen.
Did that answer your question? I forgot what your question was.
No, it did not.
Oh, what was your question?
I mean, no, it did because you guys said. I was asking if you like ever sent each other stuff, and one of you didn't like it, but basically you don't send each other
No,
stuff.
no.
No, I like everything that she writes. I respect it. It may not be something like, I feel like there's been books that weren't our favorite, but it's, it's like, that's what she's feeling. It's an artistic process, so it's not like I would ever be like, oh, I think you should change this.
So the favorite of Colleen's books has been Hopeless for years and years, and I didn't connect with Hopeless because I was going through a divorce, and I was like, these are teenagers. I don't care. But I've never revisited it after that. But regardless of what she writes, the story, I'm a fan of her and how she delivers characters and her storyline. So I feel like even if we don't like a book of each other, we still respect the writing.
And I think we're both at a point in our careers now where we don't really seek out anyone's opinion.
No.
I think we were like that in the beginning, but now it's like, okay, I know what I like, I know what I want to write, and that's what we write. And we're not really like sending it to people to be like, okay, what do you think of this? We've both been in it 9 years now, 8 or 9 years. So it's
Mostly
like
people love you and hate me, and that's just the role that we accept.
you're pretty love.
Before you were an author, who was your favorite author or your favorite genre to read before you became an author?
Gillian Flynn and Stephen King, and they still are, and I still credit them with teaching me everything I know. So it's such an honor because you've seen that MSN article going around comparing the wives to Gone Girl, and I am mortified because I can imagine Gillian was like, ew. But she taught me everything I know. So if anyone is seeing anything in there, it's because she's brilliant and I studied her. I did that with Stephen King as well.
You're also next to her on shelves now.
Yeah, because our
Because the
names are
last
so
names.
I didn't realize that till I went to Barnes and Noble, and then I was like, "Where's shelf buddies forever?"
So with that, do you think you'll ever meet either one of them, or have you met either one of them?
I don't, J.K. Rowling is my hero. I would never want to meet her. I would want to meet Stephen King. He's weird, you guys. Just let me touch some of that magic. I just want to be a little bit as creepy as him.
I think you are.
Would you do maybe one more? Would you cover one more? Anybody?
When you get an idea, do you outline the story and then write chronologically, or do you post-it note ideas and come back to them? What's your structure for getting started?
I've always been a pantster, and I think that's just no one taught me how to structure. I was writing since I was 6, and I just wrote whatever I felt. So The Wrong Family, I started with the last chapter, and then I went, oh, but what happened before this? And then I wrote the chapter before that, and I'm writing the entire book backwards. And I've never done that before, so it's new for me. And which is even scarier because I have a March 2nd, 3rd due date, and I'm writing a book backwards, and I don't know how I'm gonna be able to pull this off. So, it's backwards, guys, but it actually reads forwards. It's just working like this. Have you ever done anything that cool? I doubt it.
All of the odd chapters of Ugly Love first, and then I went back and wrote the even chapters. Like I wrote one character's part of the story and then the other, but I usually write chronologically. It bothers me. Like I will start out and write chapter 1, and then before I can start on chapter 2, chapter 1 has to be perfect, and then before I can start on chapter 3, chapter 2 has to be perfect.
I can
So
see you doing that.
as I edit as I write. So when I'm done, I'm done.
It's stressful.
All right, you guys ready to sign some books? All right, let's give them a round of applause.